Hello, welcome to Mending Me. I'm your host, Crystal, or your spiritual coach, Crystal. And I am so happy that you joined me. I'm so happy. I am excited for today. I think it's going to be a good episode. As you see, the title is on one sided sibling rivalry. I don't know if you all have, I don't know if anyone out there has a sibling, but did you ever notice that they start to compete with you, or they try to outshine you, or try to just do anything to make themselves seem like they're better than you? I grew up with I have five total that I grew up with, but four of them, um, we grew up in the 90s. And it always seemed like it was like a competing type thing. This one in particular, the one, she's 2 years younger than me, and she competed, she lied, she did everything she could to just try and outshine me. So in this episode, we're going to talk about one-sided sibling rivalry, why it happens, um, how you can try and help the situation. Which in my case, I'm not trying to help the situation. It's done. It's done. But I know that there are some people out there that they do have siblings and they do want to, restore that. Um, so if you need help, we can try and work through it. But most of the time, that rivalry thing, it's an ongoing thing, and it will never stop because it's just something in them that they just want to be better than you. Got a little spare little thing dropping over there. I'll get that later. Ah, where is it at? Okay, there we go. Okay. So the first thing, I talked this over with God, and like I said, he tells me what's the topic, what I need to do. And this is the topic that came up, and it stuck in my head for a while, for the week, for the whole week, basically. It was in my head, and it was like I didn't really know how to approach the subject, or where to go with it. Um, so this one is going to be very informal. It's not very many notes. It's just my personal experience, um, my not analogy, my analogy of it. I don't think that's the right word, but that's the word that's coming to me. But my perspective on it. And just basically what I went through. This is mending me. This is me mending myself, mending my wounds, mending my emotions, mending me in hopes that you can relate to the things that I'm going to through, or you can, just need some type of closure, or not closure, but like some, like you relating. Okay, so relating. There we go. We're gonna stick with that. So some type of relating, and then you can, you know, hopefully mend yourself and move on from whatever pain or hurt that you're going through. Like I said, God, He told me years ago. He told me years ago. And that's what God would do. God will warn you about things and people in your life. And He warns you about those people so that you can take action and move on that and get those people out of your life. Me, I was brought up around family. Like all that's all I had. All I had was my family. And it was like, okay, blood thicker than water. You stick with family. And that's what I did. That's what I did. You stick with family. You don't turn on family. But that wasn't the case. I was the only one upholding those morals. So I was upholding those morals, but everybody else was backdooring and lying and doing all this other stuff behind my back to talk to me. Like, so when I forget how old I was, but I don't even know if I would say that's a boyfriend. That was my little, it was cool. We was young. So it really wasn't, yeah, you know, but, I was talking to dude and like, actually we were, I don't know. See, with those relationships, I don't know, but we were cool. We were cool. We went steady, I guess. And he was a hood dude. And I don't know, I like that. To me, hood dudes they seem more realer. But that's a whole nother episode. um, so he had seen her one day in a store, and he had went in the store. I guess he was gonna buy some, and she had somehow they started talking or whatever, and she was like, "Why you want her fat ass? Why are you talking to her fat ass?" Like that was her thing. That was her thing. Because I was out of all of them, I was always the biggest. I always been a big girl, never been small, never nothing. I was always been big. And that's like all they could say. They could always say, "Oh, she fat, she fat, she fat." That's all. I mean, that's it. So she would and lying, but okay, we're gonna go over here. But she was telling him, she was like, "Oh, why you talking to her fat ass and all this other stuff? She fat this, you don't need to talk to her." And he came to me. He was like, "Man, your sister talking crazy about you." And I'm like, "What?" And I didn't even believe him. I got mad at him because before she came to me and she was like, "Oh, he got this disease, he got this, he got that." And I'm like, I'm going to him, I'm checking him like what's this about? And then and then after I had confronted him about it, he had told me what she said. And I'm like, you know how if somebody trying to confront you, they try and get out of it by telling their side of the story, quote unquote. So I didn't believe him. I did not believe him. And we had fell out because of that. We did. And then another guy, he was at a party with her. And when she gets drunk, she gets to talking. She's a talker. So when she get drunk, her true feelings come out. And so she was talking. She was talking to this guy, and he can't, because he knew me too. But he had asked me, he was like, "Is that your real sister?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, we got the same mom." And he was like, "She talking about you crazy." And I'm like, "You the second person, you the second, third person that told me this." And then we went out, and I ain't believe him. I believed him, but it was like, that's family. I was like, that's family. So we went out one night, and she was drunk as usual, and one of her boyfriend was in the car with her, because okay. It was her friend driving. She was in the front seat. I was in the back seat. One of her friends, and then her boyfriend was in the back seat. And so, for some reason, he was always trying to dance with me. And I didn't think nothing of it. I'm just thinking, okay, we dancing. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. And I guess she caught him looking at me or something. And she up there, oh, you must like fat bitches. You like fat bitches. I was like, all her friends in the car just looking like everything got silent. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is something y'all do all the time. Okay. So I'm just making mental notes of it. Not, I'm keeping it cool, keeping it copacetic. And you can just tell. I always knew she's always been a liar. She's always been a liar. Just lie. She just be lying. Just be lying. Just be lying for no reason. She would always go, like, she would know, because I didn't have many friends. So the ones that I did have, like, they were either come around me and they seen them and they knew them or something. So she would find out who my friends was and she would go around and lie, or she had seen them like, oh, Crystal said this, or Crystal did this, or Crystal said that, to spark up a conversation with them. So and then she had sparked up a conversation and then allude to something that was wrong with me, or something that I did wrong, or something, just to make herself look like she's better than me. As this went on for years, I'm 37 right now. I'm 37. This has been going on since I was in high school. I would say past high, in elementary. This has been since elementary. So when my baby daddy started doing his mess, I was like, okay, this ain't nothing new. Like, you didn't just come across this type of information. Like, this ain't nothing new. So I knew where it essentially came from. But like I said, it ended with him. Um, the different things it didn't make sense to me, because I mean, I ain't even gonna say I'm nah, because I'm not the brightest when it comes to, like, picking up on different things of what people doing. Like, I'll catch it. I know I see it, but it's like, I gotta know why you're doing it. That's my bad. That's my problem. I had to then I needed to know why you're doing this. I see what you're doing. I just don't know why you're doing it. I want to know why you're doing this. And she would she would we was she would compete with me while I would help her with whatever she was doing. I would help her. Then she would turn around and start competing with me with the stuff I didn't help her with. So I'm looking like, I hoped you do that. So how are you? Perfect example. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we going back and forth. We going back and forth. So a perfect example. She moved to Texas, and something her something was something had happened something had happened to where she had stopped going to work. Like, nobody could find her. Nobody knew anything. And so people from down in Texas was calling up here like, hey, you heard from her. You heard from her. And we like, we ain't nobody heard from her. So I'm sending out search parties. Like, I'm calling the police down there. I'm calling jobs. I'm calling hospital. Like, I'm calling. I'm doing all the steps to find where she is. So we get in touch, because her biological father lives down there. So he's down there, and we calling him like, yo, what's up? Where's she at? Or, can you go over where her place at, or where the last time you seen her at? So we find her, and this was basically a rescue mission. Got her back up here to Toledo for her to backstab me. Her and my cousin, they collaborated together to try and hurt me. They collaborated because, hoes flock together. But I don't judge people. I don't judge people. If you do what you do, that's fine. I don't have to be included. You a cool friend to me? Cool. I don't whatever you do outside of me, that's your business. I don't judge you. And she was went and slept with my son's father. Yeah, yeah. And that that was a blow because I never did that to her. I never did that to her. Even though I had plenty of opportunities, plenty, never did it to her. Never did that. And I just didn't understand why, like the cousin, she came all the way up here from Tacoma, Washington, and found Toledo small, my city small, but it ain't that small. So you come all the way out of town and you find the one family that I didn't had a child with, the one family. She went in, got in. This is the cousin. Got in, got cool with the family, and started dating my son's cousin. And I'm like, how, out of all people in this entire city, and we're diverting to the cousin now. Um, to everybody in the city, you find this one person, and then like what's crazy is that like if any of and my thing was if you're a friend, you don't mess with the dude. That's like friends don't mess with other friends dudes. That's what I grew up on. That's what that's what my whole motto was. So whenever their guy tried to talk to me, I wouldn't I would not talk to them. And I would just cut it. I would shut it down. Like, no, you mess with her. No. They didn't do that. They took that as, oh, okay, cool. You pick me over her. Oh, you pick me over her. But okay, so this is what's crazy about this situation. She gonna tell me because this is when Facebook had like the poking. She's like, oh, she told me, she's like, oh, yo, baby daddy poking me on Facebook. And I'm like, okay, so what did you do? I poked him back. But what I got mad at is that you didn't tell me first. She was at my mother's house telling everybody else. So I'm like, in my head, it's like, you already know what's going on with us. So why would you go and insert yourself in that situation? I didn't understand that. But they did that to hurt me. She's always, my sister has always been trying to hurt me emotionally or trying to get people not to talk to me, trying to exclude me from things. But when you blessed by God, when you held in God's arms, if you loved by God, nothing is a loss. Nothing is it may be perceived, you may want it to be bad, but it's always perceived in a blessing. It's always perceived in a blessing. I told her because I thought I could talk to my sister. And he had came to me and he told me he told me he loved me. He did, but I guess that was a lie. But he told me that, and I'm telling them, I'm like, oh, he said this. But I didn't know I was speaking to demons. I didn't know I was speaking to demons. They tried to destroy it. They did. They did destroy it. And that's the blessing. Next episode, intention. Okay, got it, God. Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna move on from this. Because I'm there's nothing written down. It was all supposed to be just a a freestyle basically. But with this freestyles, I don't stay on topic. So when I go off of it, forgive me. If you can't keep up, I apologize. Yeah. So the one-sided sibling rivalry. With that, they always want to they want to pick, not pick, but they don't understand. Like I always, like I said, I always want to know the reason behind things. And I knew that because I was lived with my grandparents, but my grandparents had a duplex, so we lived in the bottom, and my birth mother lived at the top with her new family, and she always went out, so she always left the kids there, and always, was just out. And they always wanted to go to and my grandmother, I stayed down there with them. So I had a lot of freedom. I had a lot of freedom within the house. I was sheltered, but I still had a lot of freedom from their perspective. Um, they always wanted to live with my grandmother. Like she always wanted to live with my grandmother. And she always told her no. And my grandmother knew. She knew she was evil. She knew. My grandmama knew it. I love my mama. I love my grandma. She knew she was evil. So we're going to jump to when I was pregnant. When I first found out I was pregnant, I told my grandmother. And she was like, she didn't want me to tell my granddad because she didn't know how he was going to take it or whatever. So I didn't tell him. My grandma was like, I'll tell him when he needs to know. She said, I'll tell him when he needs. She didn't say he needs to know, but so many words. She told him that she tell him, but she got sick like maybe a week or two later or whatever. And guess who went to go tell my granddad? I guess she thought that my granddad was going to kick me out of the house because when my birth mother was pregnant with me, she was 18. So he didn't like that. He didn't like that at all because she wasn't going to like it wasn't what he I guess it wasn't what he wanted for her. Like it was his first daughter, his only daughter at the time. Well, no, it wasn't because Sylvia was born. So it was his daughter. It was like, why are you doing this? Why are you having a child this young? And so I guess he might have threatened to kick her out. I'm not sure. But knowing my granddad and how he was then, I can only imagine that's what he said. So she went and told my granddad. And if I was never gonna get kicked out. Even if he did try and kick me out, I wasn't going nowhere. So he went up there to see my grandmother because she was in the hospital at the time. And he was like, so I heard something. She was like, what you heard? And he told her, he's like, I heard we got another baby. And then she was like, yeah, who told you? And oh, guess who told him? Jackie told him. And she was like, my grandmother was telling me, she was like, I don't know why she would do that. Why would she do that? Why would she do that? Because she always wants to be the person that gives the news. Because her life is so nothing. Like she doesn't have anything to show for her life but some kids. And she wants to be the person that has all the news. And I was wondering because I'm an introvert. I don't really talk to a lot of people. So a lot of people know of me and know my information. And I'm like, how is that? How do people know of me or think they know me when I've never even talked to them? But it was her being my rep because when I was younger, I was shy. So I would say I lived with my grandmother, so I didn't get exposed to the world. And so when we went out like to schools and stuff, they would always be like, "Oh, that's my sister. Oh, that's what." Da, 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 da. So they would talk for me. So she got so used to talking for me, she just continued to do. So she would just spread lies because I was a good kid. I never got in trouble. My grandparents never like punished me, never got whoopings. Like I was a good kid. But I would only get in trouble when she would come tell a lie. She would come and tell a lie or say I did something to get me in trouble. That was always the case, every single time. Everything she said I did, she's a liar. And she would always try and get me in trouble with these lies. Disclaimer, this video is not, I mean, it's informative, but it's not, this is what God want me to put out. So I'm going off of God's word. So if you think if you don't understand why I'm saying this or why I'm putting this out, this is why God has instructed me to do so. And I've made, I've went against God so many times. So when he say do it, I'd rather just do it than to have, and not do it and disobey. So I'm obeying. If this is not your cup of tea, or I thank you for watching. But this is for me. This is for me. If like I said, if it can help you while I'm mending me, if it can help you, I got the burps. If it can help you, I send you blessings. If not, I send you blessings. But yeah. Okay, so back to it. Okay, so I ain't gotta miss. Hold on, wait. Okay, her lying, trying to get me in trouble. It's just so many. Like God had me sit down and just think. He just had it going through my head, all this stuff that she was doing. When he shows me this stuff, he has it as to where I'm sitting like on the outside. Like he's showing me what's going on. Like a scene from, like, if just for example, if you were in the kitchen cooking and somebody else was in the house. You were in the kitchen cooking, you talking to somebody, but things are going on, but you can't really catch it. So he's showing me like everything is still going on, but he's showing me from the outside. So I can see, oh, okay, that's what happened. Okay, that's what happened. Okay. So he's showing me this, and I'm like, dang, how did I miss it? How did I miss that? How did I miss that? So the lies, just the lies. When I was in, like I said, the friends that I had when I was in high school, we had because the high school that I went to, it was like when I started going in my freshman year, that was the second year it was open. So they didn't have prom, like they didn't have nothing the public schools had. So our first prom, everybody excited, So I got me a little group of friends or whatever, and we like, okay, we're gonna go to prom together. And nobody was driving, nobody had a car or anything. So we had said we were gonna go to the mall and we're gonna go look for dresses and stuff. So, because I'm sheltered, I was like I said. So I had to persuade my grandmother, like, please let me get on the bus. Because I couldn't take the bus or anything. I was like, please let me get on the bus. I want to go to the mall. And she had to know who I was going with and all this other stuff. So we get there, and my grandmother, she had picked me up, and we went to. By that time, my birth mother had moved into a house outside of our house, and we had stopped by there. And my Jackie, she was so mad. She was so mad because she couldn't go to the mall. She was so mad she could not go with me. And I'm like, why would you think you going with me with my friend? Like, why would you think that? And she was trying to fight me. She was literally trying to fight me because she could not go and do what I did. Like, I literally been dealing with this mess my whole entire life. And I think back because they always used to fight in school, always used to fight in school. And God showed me that fighting was something that was because she was doing stuff behind my back all that time. So they was just getting their ass whooped just because what they was doing. It's a cause and effect. And we're going to talk about that in another episode. But cause and effect, you do something, it's not going to come back to you the same way. It's going to come back to you in a different way. It's all about your intention. And we'll talk about that one in another episode. um, I feel light. Like I've been talking about this for like my situation, just getting out of my situation for a few years. And God, He didn't really want me to talk about it because they're they're suicidal. I don't know if I can say that on here. Well, yeah, I can. But they're not strong. Like they're weak women, weak built women. So God wouldn't let me, He didn't want me to have that blood on my hands. That's exactly what He told me. I don't want that blood on your hands. So I don't want you putting out nothing towards them. So I'm assuming they're either stronger enough to understand this and to understand. I think I said that twice. So, okay. Let's see. What else? What else? What else? See, like everything that happened between me and him was what they used to do. She used to do. She would get her friends to talk to me. Like when I was pregnant, she had the dude that she was talking to. Like I didn't know him. And he came to me through a website. And I remember the name, but I couldn't pinpoint. I'm like, maybe it's more people like that. But he was always trying to have sex with me. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, and I was pregnant at the time. And I'm like, why would I have sex with you and I'm pregnant with somebody else's baby? Like that sounds crazy. I was like, that sounds crazy. And he was so persistent. She always, this is her thing. She always wanted me to be seen as a whore. I'm a shy individual. I was insecure. I was insecure about being overweight. I didn't feel pretty. I was just insecure. But she wanted me to just go out there and just sleep with all these random people. And I'm like, nah. I was like, I don't even I gotta catch a vibe with them. I gotta build a rapport with them. I gotta know them. I can't just go out. I just don't do that. And she went out and she met, this is, I say I was 23, 20, 22, 23. And she went out and met these dudes from Jamaica. And she met these dudes from Jamaica. And she went out messing with him or whatever. She's like, hey, go sleep with him. Go sleep with his friend. And I'm like, nah. But she be giving my number out to people. So she give my number out to people and they'll be calling me. And I'm like, and I was all about making friends. I always wanted friends because I never had friends. So I was like, you know what? I'm open to have friends. Not friends with benefits, but just like somebody to talk to. So we I had talked to the guy or whatever, and I'm like, he wasn't my speed at all. Like he was not appealing at all. If you know what I mean. He wasn't appealing at all. And I remember him taking my pictures. Like he was like, because I had pictures in the car of myself. I after I turned 18, like I was still insecure, but I know I was beautiful. I knew I was beautiful, and I like taking pictures. So I always had pictures of myself in the car. And he took my pictures. So I'm like, didn't really understand why, but I think they was doing some old hoodoo shit. I think that was it. But with God telling me that this is why she's been doing this. And I understand, I see why everything has been happening to her. I got to see firsthand why the things that was happening, but I couldn't put two and two together. I had to understand why. I always had to understand the why. But she was that some just threw me off. I heard all that negative energy returning back to him. Okay, so let me reel it back in. Let me reel it back in. So let's see. I'm just really talking about the things that happened to me that I didn't realize who was behind it, but it was her this whole time. This whole time. And I looked, and my son's father, his girlfriend lived down the street from them when we were like, so I'm thinking she must have went to grade school with us or something. So she lived down the street. Actually, she lived down the street from me. So because her tactics and Jackie's tactics are the same. So like, okay, some gotta shake. Even if you in that devil energy, y'all have the same tactics. You're gonna spread lies about somebody, you're gonna be jealous of them, you're gonna be trying to intimidate them, trying to harass them, trying to embarrass them. I know what I did. And I'm fine with it. I'm covered. God has forgiven me. I've forgiven myself. I ain't got to deal with none of that mess. But I am in a position where I can talk about it now because it was like, dang, why? Like I literally, this one scenario, no, not scenario, this one incident. I was paying my phone bill, not my phone bill, my gas, I think my gas or light bill, and I didn't have enough. So I went, I asked my granddad for, I think I need like $80. And he was like, okay, I'll give you the $80. And after I picked the money up, I went to my sister's house because I was gonna pay the bill that Monday. I think it was like the weekend or something. So I was gonna pay the bill that Monday. And I went over there, and she was like, she said that because she had 5 kids, I think. She was like, oh, we ain't got no food, with all this other stuff. And so I'm like, I didn't want the kids to be hungry. I'm like, $20, I can try and find somewhere to get to $20, So I gave her $20 of the money that my granddad gave. You know what she did? She went and told my granddad, oh, she ain't need that money. She just gave it to me. Really? I'm trying to help you get your kids some food and you gonna try and backdoor me? Like she literally been doing this the entire time. The entire time. One-sided rivalry. One-sided. Because I'm just looking at her like, why are you jealous? Like she grew up with her parents. She grew up with her family. She had friends. She had all this stuff, but you still jealous of me? Why do you she sees me in such a high light that you think that you can bring me down with all your lies? Like she lies. Just lies. And I'm in this group where they talk about how their siblings act, and I'm like, dang, it's people out. Everybody got these. Everybody got these type of siblings. I'm not alone. I'm not alone, and I'm thankful that I found that group because it's. I thought I was the only one dealing with it, and my they're telling me not to talk about that. Okay, okay, God, okay, okay, okay. So I can't talk about that part. I was gonna bring in my aunt, good, because we grew up, like I said, sibling rivalry. We grew up like her dad, her mom and dad. I called them my mom and dad. That was her parents are my grandparents, and I grew up. We grew up in the same room, and I remember asking her, I'm being told no. Okay, so that's what I can't bring up. Okay, so that's probably gonna be a whole nother episode. So I'm gonna obey. So stick on topic. Okay. So with Jackie, she I heard this was maybe a year or two ago. I heard her tell one of my younger sisters, "Oh, I'm your big sister now." It's like, are you that insecure? Really? Oh, that insecurity will kill you. That insecurity is a mug. Mm. When you got, that's sad. That's sad. And I forget the guy's name. What is this? It start with a B. I can't even think of your name. I can't think of his name for nothing. I've been trying to find him. I can't think of his name. I cannot think of his name. But I guess since I can't think of his name, I don't need to find him. So I don't know. I guess I know his. I think his initials is it's either BC or BW. I can't think of it though. Can't think of it. I can't think of it. Like it's at the tip of my tongue, kind of. But okay, we're gonna get off of that. Okay, so my whole thing is just to you don't get over things unless you talk about it. You don't get over things unless you talk about it. God talked this out with me, had me understand that He did give me the word to handle this 10 years ago. And I put it off because I'm like, God, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing, you know. I just put it off like that ain't, and I remember saying, because when God talks to you, I can't remember what He says, but I remember me responding to it. So I'm like, you know what, God, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. And I just moved on with it. I'm like that. It's not serious to me. It wasn't serious because I would have never thought. I would have never thought it would have made it to this far. But I'm so thankful because every rejection is a blessing. It's a blessing. I'm so thankful. Um, this is, I think I'm about a month in. Yeah, this is a month. So I've done like maybe 5 true podcasts, 5 or 6 true podcasts. So I'm still wet behind the ears, you know. So I'm learning different things. This is not your traditional podcast. Um, it's gonna be me for a while because this is I'm instruct. This is an instruction. So this is for me. This is for me. It's to help somebody out there. It's to help somebody. They say one of my mentors. He says, um, "Dang, what does he say? That we're his assignment. We're his assignment." And I'm thinking like, because when he got started in 2004, I'm just now graduating high school. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I had no clue I would be here, right here. No clue. I was his assignment. He had to do that. He had to go, and that just gives me chills that he had to go do what he had to do to get to that point so that I could find him so he can help me get to a point. I'm thankful and I want to be, I know I got my assignment. I know I got my assignment and I'm taking the necessary steps for you to find me. Oh, I got chills. Oh, God, go ahead, use me, God. I'm working, God. So this is my assignment. You out there, keep pushing forward. Don't let your siblings, don't let your family, don't let nobody push you down. Don't let nobody stop you. Keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. It's a cold world. Your family will turn on you. It's a cold world. I'm gonna leave you with like I say, I'm in the store. I'm in a, a, a an academy to help me with my speaking and my stories and things. So I'm gonna leave you with what I've been working on. It's not done, but here we go. Family should be our anchor, but when they become our chains, it's time to set ourselves free. I grew up in a broken home with a lot of abuse that led me to an abusive relationship. The mind games, the lies, the playing with my emotions. I felt stuck. Have you ever felt stuck in a situation but thought if I stick it out, maybe things will change? Things never did. I fell into depression and I was miserable. Then one day I saw myself in the mirror and I didn't recognize her. I gained more weight and I looked tired. I looked sad. I knew I had to find a solution. I joined the gym and dedicated 5 days a week. And within 7 months, I lost 90 pounds. I was excited and amazed because I noticed that it showed me that I was more than capable of changing my life. I started going to therapy because I had to figure out why I was depressed in the first place. And I discovered that it was the people around me. I used to hear this quote on the radio station: if you can't change the people around you, then change the people around you. Cutting off family and friends is not easy, but I desire to be happy. Growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is more painful than staying stuck in a place where you don't belong. I found my confidence and my self worth when I chose to put myself first. I hope to inspire anyone who feels trapped or defeated by their past. Healing and change are possible, and sometimes they start from within. With better you in pinpointing the source of your pain and the areas you can change, because it's never too late to seek help or create a better future for yourself. That's my story. How y'all like it? How you like it? Okay. So I'm thankful that, it's still a work in progress. So, but if you are feeling sad, anything, don't keep it trapped in because it only hurts you and it festers into something else. I thank you for watching. I am pleased with my episode tonight and have a good night. Bye.